Next proclamation on deck is Proclamation 15-05, which is the National Wildlife Refuge Hunting Season Proclamation. Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 15-05 to the Wildlife Committee. At this time, we ask the Commission to adopt Proclamation 15-05.
Chairman Bledsoe, the Wildlife Committee, and I recommend passage of proposed Proclamation 15-05, hunting seasons and bag limits on select national wildlife refuges and other federal areas.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion's been made and seconded on Proclamation 1505. Any discussion from the Commission? Any from the audience? All right. All in favor of Proclamation 1505, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Proclamation 1505, hunting seasons and bag limits on select national wildlife refuges and other federal areas, carries.
The next proclamation we bring before you is Proclamation 15-06, which is the manner and means of hunting and trapping. Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 15-06 to the Wildlife Committee. At this time, we ask the Commission to adopt Proclamation 15-06.
Chairman Bledsoe, the Wildlife Committee, and I recommend passage of proposed Proclamation 15-06, manner and means of hunting, taking, trapping.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded on Proclamation 1506. Any discussion from the Commission? Any from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor of Proclamation 1506, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Proclamation 1506, manner and means of hunting and trapping, carries.
The next proclamation we bring before you is Proclamation 15-07. This proclamation proclaims new lands to the Wolf River Wildlife Management Area. Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendation for Proclamation 15-07 to the Wildlife Committee, and at this time, we ask the Commission to adopt Proclamation 15-07.
Commissioner Bledsoe, the Wildlife Committee, and I recommend passage of proposed Proclamation 15-07 to add land to the Wolf River WMA.
Motion been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded on Proclamation 1507. Any discussion from the Commission?
May I ask Alan a quick question? Alan, I should have asked you this, but all these new areas at Wolf River, all the same rules and regulations apply to the main area,
Alan, would you care to?
these new areas right now?
I'm Alan Peterson, Region 1 Regional Manager. I believe what we intend to do is have the original Wolf River with special regulations and those other parts be Wolf River Unit 2 still open with statewide seasons of bag limits. Unless Jim can correct me, is that the main discussion we've had?
Please step up to the podium there.
Commissioner Cox, the Unit 2 is going to be everything north of Highway 57. And it'll be statewide season and bag limits except for turkey season, which will be the same, opening the third Saturday, whatever, for 3 weeks.
That's fine. I got it.
And everything south will be, like the Pool Road unit will be in Unit 1, and that'll be the regulations that are on Wolf River WMA.
Any more discussion from Commission? Any from the audience? All in favor of Proclamation 1507, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Proclamation 1507, proclaiming Wolf River WMA's extra lands, carries.
The next we'll do one at a time. The next proclamation we bring before you is Proclamation 15-08, which is proclaiming a new wildlife management area that will be named Hart's Mill. Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 15-08 to the Wildlife Committee, and at this time, we ask the commission to adopt Proclamation 15-08.
Chairman Bledsoe, the Wildlife Committee and I recommend passage of proposed Proclamation 15-08 proclaiming Harts Mill WMA.
Motion's been made. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion made and seconded. Proclamation 1508. Any questions from the commission? Any from the audience? Hearing none, all in favor of Proclamation 1508, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Proclamation 1508 proclaiming Harts Mill WMA carries.
The next proclamation we bring before you is Proclamation 15-09. This proclamation is proclaiming a new wildlife management area that will be named Fort Ridge. Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 15-09 to the Wildlife Committee, and at this time, we ask the commission to adopt this proclamation.
Chairman Bledsoe, the Wildlife Committee and I recommend passage of proposed Proclamation 15-09 proclaiming Fort Ridge WMA.
Motion's been made on 1509. Do I hear a second?
Second.
Motion been made and seconded. Any discussion from the commission? Any from the audience? All in favor of Proclamation 1509, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Proclamation 1509 proclaiming Fort Ridge WMA carries.
The next proclamation we bring before you is Proclamation 15-10. This proclamation is proclaiming Tull Bottom Wildlife Management Area. Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 15-10 to the Wildlife Committee, and at this time, we ask the commission to adopt this proclamation.
Chairman Bledsoe, the Wildlife Committee and I recommend passage of proposed Proclamation 15-10 proclaiming Tull Bottom WMA.
Motion's been made and seconded. Any discussion from the commission? From the audience? All in favor of Proclamation 15-10, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Proclamation 15-10 proclaiming Tull Bottom WMA carries.
And last, but certainly not least, Proclamation 15-11. This proclamation sets our dove seasons. Yesterday, the agency presented the recommendations for Proclamation 15-11 to the Wildlife Committee, and at this time, we ask the commission to adopt Proclamation 15-11.
Chairman Bledsoe, the Wildlife Committee and I recommend passage of proposed Proclamation 15-11 dove seasons and regulations.
Motion's been made and seconded on Proclamation 15-11. Any discussion from the commission? Any from the audience? All in favor of Proclamation 15-11, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Proclamation 15-11, dove seasons and regulation carries.
That ends all the proclamations we bring before you, and once again, I thank you for all your time and patience.
Thank you very much, Darrell. I know it's been very trying. If it pleases everybody, before we move to the next thing, can we take about a 10-minute break? Let's take a 10-minute break then.